Welcome back to my channel. If you're new to this place, I'm Øystein and I try to read a lot. That's probably why this video is about my reading goals for this year. Before entering this year, I thought to myself, should I even have reading goals? Because it ain't just sunshine, roses and daffodils. I'm trying to make my own expressions as I go along. But if you have reading goals for this year, please comment below. I'd love to see what you're thinking about this year. And let's start at the beginning with my first reading goal, and that is read 5 new authors from 5 new countries. This is a reading goal I realized that I sorely needed. And if you watched my last live stream, I talked about that I thought I'd read more new authors from new countries than I actually had. I think I ended up reading 5 new authors, whereas in my mind I thought I'd read something like 10 to 20 somewhere. And the reason is probably that I read several books from new countries, but the same countries last year. This is sort of the only reading goal I have this year that's trying to force me into learn about new countries and perspectives. So if you have, especially Asian authors not from Japan, to recommend, please do it in the comments. Also, this is one of those challenges that becomes more difficult the more I read, which is kind of fun, but I still haven't read authors from India, Australia, China, Brazil. So there are some options out there. And I feel like every time I'm trying to look up new books from new countries with new perspectives, it's often war or racism involved, and I try to read happy books. At least in the winter. My next reading goal is a goal I've been thinking about for a long time. And of course, this is the question of how many books should you read in the course of the year? And at some point I thought maybe 1 book, so my Goodreads account will just say, you made it. But then again I thought, well, probably should read more than I did this year if I'm counting audiobooks as well, which I am going to do, so it will be a lot easier for me. So I thought the only rational thing to do this year is to have 100 books as my goal. I talked about in the intro that reading goals ain't just beautiful things in the world. I'm sorry that I get kind of an American accent. I think I'm not that good with accents, but I feel like every time I try to exaggerate something, I become Americanized. So I'm sorry. Let's just say I'm aware that it doesn't sound good. But in 2022, I ended up reading 82 books and I started listening to audiobooks in April, I think. Or at least seriously listening to audiobooks from May, June. So if I had done the same schedule for this year, I would have ended up around 100. So I thought, it's not impossible, but how will this affect my reading? And already I'm kind of afraid that I will pick easier reads, shorter novels. And I do enjoy shorter novels, so that's not the issue. It's more like if I feel that I have to read shorter novels, that will become an issue. Or not. It just doesn't feel good, even though I know that it doesn't really matter. The positive thing about this, of course, is that I will probably read more children's novels, and that is something that I want to be doing, and I get a lot of joy out of. So, it sort of evens out. I'm also wondering if I will become disappointed in myself if I do not reach my 100 books this year goal. Actually, I don't think so. So that means that this reading goal is kind of useless. My main driver for having reading goals at all is to force me into reading more books, but having you guys watching me will do that automatically, so that's not an issue. So at least having reading goals makes me make this video. That's something. It's sort of funny because I'm already a bit stressed out with thinking about all of these 100 books. And I've started picking shorter novels to get ahead of my reading schedule. But then I see this beautiful book in my shelf and I think to myself, well, it's going to be you and me now. Even though that book can be quite difficult to read. So currently I'm reading Educated by Tara Westover, which is a beautiful book so far. But it's a lot to take in and it goes on quite slowly. So now I'm switching to another book to read that in between quickly, so I'll get to relax with my other book. And this is actually what I'm afraid of, but if I just get a bit ahead of my schedule now, I can relax again. And it's not like I'm not enjoying my reads. I just think I could enjoy them this much more if I relaxed a whole lot, but maybe that's not a thing for me at all. And now over to the goal that I'm most excited about and afraid of, and is the most important one this year, and that's buying 50% of the books I read. So if I read 100 books this year, I can buy 50. I will not tell myself when I can buy the books or not. I will just have to read twice as much as I buy. So this is actually something that I've thought about for a long time. And on the 31st of December, I was this close at buying like 20-30 books, but I didn't. And it wouldn't have been cheating either. It just wouldn't have felt good. So I'm happy I didn't. And this goal is one goal that's important to me, because I don't want to go into thrift stores anymore and just buying 20-30 books and then being kind of sad that I can't read them all at once. So this will force me to focus on the novels I really want to read and just buying the books that I think will be read quite soon. Also, this means that I will have read a higher percentage of the books that's in my shelf. So even if I'd read 100 books and bought 100 books, I would still have read a bigger percentage, but reading 100 and buying 50 will feel a lot better. And it will look better for my guests that come around, and I can tell them, well, I've read this side of my shelves. Just to give you a perspective, I think I acquired around 200 books last year, so going from 200 to 50 will be a real challenge, and especially when I'm going to read more than I did last year as well. It just will be difficult, and this goal I'm not sure that I will reach at all, which makes it a challenge. And we all need a little challenge in our lives. Or most of us, at least. Some have enough. I don't know if it's just me, but I feel better when reading books that have been standing in my shelf for longer. So it's almost like the longer they've been standing there, the better it feels. And buying new books and reading them instantaneously isn't as gratifying. I really don't know why this is, so if you have the same feelings or have an explanation, please comment below. So these are basically my reading goals. Last year I had more of them, but it felt kind of forced at some point, especially with my graphic novels. I had to choose a graphic novel before the end of the year, and I did, and I do not regret it, but at the same time it just felt a bit weird. So having these 3 goals and 3 goals that are mostly the same but one very different feels good. I also have 3 wishes for myself as a reader. The first one is reading more memoirs, which I found out that I really enjoyed last year. The second one is to try harder to read books that I enjoy, not as often pick books that I'm unsure if I will like just because they're classics or famous or trending on TikTok. And the last one is reading more children's novels. But these aren't goals, it's just wishes, hopes, dreams. So how will I monitor this? I have both Goodreads and Storygraph now. If you want to become my friend on either of these platforms, I will leave links in the description, and you could become my Storygraph friend number 3 or 2. And basically, I'm just going to use those sites to count. Also, I have this one sheet where I'm just going to put all the books I buy. And I forgot to mention that I'm not going to count the books that I receive for free or find for free in those 50. But it's not that often, so it won't make a huge difference. But I feel like those 50 I have to choose myself to feel like I'm choosing the right ones. Finding a book that I see myself reading for free and then having to, it's just too difficult. I also have some channel goals. The first one obviously is to reach 100,000 million subscribers. The first one is obviously that I want to reach 1,000 subscribers, and I think that's doable. And the second one is that I will do more live streams this year. I really found the 2 live streams that I've done to be quite fun. It's just a whole nother way to interact with you, sitting here in front of the camera in the silence. Sometimes it's a bit weird still, but doing live streams felt a whole lot more fun, and getting interactions as I go along, yeah, it's just something I hope to be doing more. And that being said, I hope to be doing one live stream at the end of this month as well. The third thing on my list is making content with others. Firstly, because I'm kind of introverted and it's difficult to just think that I will get in contact with people and make stuff. But I really see the value, and doing this alone can be lonesome, so I thought that would be a good challenge for myself this year. Also, I think it would be fun for you guys to watch, so stay tuned. So these were all my goals this year. If you have goals you'd like to share, please comment below. I'm now going to pick up a small book to read, so I'll get ahead of my schedule. So thank you all for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!